Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to CTL's Education Professional Development Series. My name is Amy Alcalisi, EdTech Project Manager here at CTL, and I'm joined by Stephanie Shea, Marketing Manager. Excuse me. If you're not familiar with CTL, we've been headquartered in Portland, Oregon, providing innovative IT solutions to education and government customers for over 26 years. We're Google for Education partner, specializing in rugged CTL Chromebooks, laptops, convertibles, 2-in-1s, and tablets designed specifically for K-12. Over the last few years, we've worked with Google to introduce a line of CTL Chromebooks that have been recommended by PC Magazine as the best choice for Chromebooks in education. As part of our commitment to education, CTL offers free professional development webinars on a variety of topics relevant to K-12 EdTech. Today's webinar is Intermediate Level WeVideo, presented by Attendee Interface, Customer Success Manager at WeVideo. Just to give you guys a heads up, they are based out of California as well. But before we get started, I'd like to review the Attendee Interface so you know how to participate in today's event. You should see something that looks like this on your computer desktop in the upper right-hand corner. You're listening in using your computer's speaker system by default. If you would prefer to join over the phone, just select telephone, and the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed. All right. You may type any questions into the question pane of the control panel during the presentation, and they will be addressed at the end of the presentation. However, we'll probably do a little intermission in the beginning if we get a lot of questions, and we'll take a break. Before we begin, I'd like to take a poll to learn more about our attendees today. Please indicate if you've used WeVideo or if you have a little bit of use or have never used it or some experience. So let me launch that here. Make sure everybody can see that. Whoa. We don't want to do that. Sorry about that. Stephanie, can you see the screen?
Let's see. I don't see the poll yet. Okay.
Sorry about that. Click the wrong button. Okay, can you see that now? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. It's technology stuff. All right. It looks like 50% no experience and 50% a lot of experience. So we've got a little bit of a mixture here. So that'll give Attendee a little bit of playroom. Let me close this out. All right. Hopefully you can't see that anymore. Before I turn it over to Attendee for our presentation, I would just like to remind everyone about some resources for Nevada 21 educators. When you visit the nr21.ctl.net website, you can learn about upcoming professional learning opportunities, sign up for updates about events and information, and join our Google Plus private community for Nevada 21 educators. I highly recommend that. That's important because we post a lot of reminders and webinars and upcoming PD events is there.
Amy, can you flash up your slides so people can see the web link?
Yeah, can you not see that?
Not at the moment. I'm not sure if.
What do you? Because okay.
It says waiting to view Amy's screen. I can pop it up if you want me to.
Yeah, because it's showing on my screen. Yeah, thank you for letting me know that. Let me see if I can do something different.
Show my screen.
Slide 8.
So, can people see?
Here's our
NR21. Yeah, okay, that's all. I just want to make sure that people can see this.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. And it accidentally says John Klein, but we all know it's Attendee.
Well, yeah, it's okay. So let's see. I think that's it. I would like to introduce Attendee Bakalov. He's the Customer Success Manager at WeVideo, who's going to present today. Atana supports educators seeking to integrate video creation in their lessons and engage students through the power of storytelling. Before joining WeVideo, Atana spent 7 years in education, a journey which began in Boston Public Schools and extended to international education consulting for schools and exchange organizations in Asia, Europe, and Latin America. Atanas is also an avid filmmaker. He has worked on several Hollywood crews and directed 5 short films. So I'm going to have Stephanie transfer screens over to Atanas at this point.
Hello, everyone. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. So thank you, Amy, for the warm introduction. It's great to be here and representing WeVideo today. As you heard, my experience travels both the education side but also filmmaking. So I'm really passionate about the way you can integrate a tool like WeVideo, really a 21st century skills tool, into classroom instruction. And I believe that it's extremely engaging and extremely exciting for both teachers and students once you get the hang of the platform. So I know that there's a mix of experience in the room, and I will touch on. I'll be mindful of that, and I'll make sure that we cover both the basics and we finish off with some advanced features as well. So the agenda today, so why WeVideo? I want to touch on that briefly and then get oriented with the dashboard and the user roles in WeVideo, because that's really important in the multi-user education accounts that you will see in your classrooms. From there, we'll jump into classroom management and look at how to set up our groups, which is the main vehicle for teaching a classroom through WeVideo. And then we'll dive into the nitty-gritty, or the meat and potatoes of WeVideo, managing your media, creating assignments via the projects tab, and then we'll dig into the editor itself and touch on some of the basic and advanced editing features. I'll pause in the middle of the presentation to give everyone a chance to ask questions, so it doesn't feel just like a lecture. So why WeVideo? One of the main aspects to WeVideo and main differentiators, I would say, compared to any other tools, is that WeVideo is a cloud-based solution. So it provides an amazing way to do videos not only on one machine but in a variety of different formats. And to that end, we've actually created an adaptive interface. You have 2 modes. One is a storyboard mode for either novice users or perhaps users who are not able to take advantage of some of the advanced features and the more complex stuff that comes in timeline mode. So I know differentiation is important in education, and WeVideo provides room for all sorts of users, both novice and expert users, to create videos. In addition, I touched on the cloud-based aspect. WeVideo is actually an ecosystem, so you don't only get WeVideo on your Chromebook, but it comes with a set of companion apps for both iOS and Android devices. So mobile phones, tablets, iPads, WeVideo can work on all of these, and that provides a great way to integrate and to create an entire process of making videos, starting from shooting video on your phone or tablet, doing some basic editing there, and then transferring that content with the click of a button to your Chromebook to continue to polish that content and finish that video. And one note here, with the purchase of the WeVideo education, of a WeVideo education account, you actually get access to the premium mobile apps. So those are typically $3.99, but they come with the education purchase. And also you get, so basically all the permissions that you set in your master account are going to translate to the mobile phone. So all the privacy settings, all the walled garden stuff that's really important in education will apply to mobile devices and tablets. And here, in terms of some ways to use video in the classroom, it's really not a niche tool, and oftentimes when you hear video, educators, kind of the first thing that pops to mind is media classes, or perhaps an ELA class or a language class, and sometimes a history class, sort of more on the humanities and social sciences side. But actually, we've seen some great uses even in science classes with some of the advanced features like slow motion, where you can record an experiment and then watch it, slow it down 10 times to actually analyze that and do an explainer video on a scientific concept. So there's a broad variety of uses, and I just want to mention that it's not just a tool for a very niche application in classrooms. So let's dig in. Let's start with the basics. So the WeVideo dashboard. So when you log into your WeVideo account, you'll see something like this. Actually, the first sign is that there's an admin tab for the owners or the administrators of the accounts, and this is how you recognize immediately that this is an education account. Projects is the tab where you set up your assignments. So you can think of projects as more the creative space or the containers where users are building their videos. And the reason I say this is because teachers often confuse projects with the videos themselves, which is very easy to do when you're coming from WeVideo Free, where the project is just the video. But here in this education version, the project is the entire space, and multiple creators, multiple users can be in that project creating videos at the same time. The next tab is media, which is all your content that you bring into the WeVideo account. Note that WeVideo doesn't come with any stock footage, so all of this you need to upload into your account. WeVideo does provide some great stock music, so audio and some audio effects as well, but no video or photos that you can use for your creation needs. The next tab is the videos tab, and we distinguish in terms of the way our naming conventions work. We distinguish between videos, which is the finished work, and edits, which is work in progress. And this could be potentially an area where teachers and students sometimes get confused, but once you get the distinction, I think it's much easier to kind of orient yourself and understand that this is for only finished work here. The admin tab is for administrators and the owner of the account. It provides a full set of management features. You can set the permissions for the account, and importantly, it's a privacy protected account, so it's one multi-user walled garden environment that you are setting up, and all your users are inside of that space. And teachers will see a groups tab instead of admin, where they can set up their classes and do some of the classroom management that we'll talk about in a second. And then the help section is really important, often overlooked, I would say, but it comes with a great set of videos that you can open up and watch. So we have tutorials on wevideo.com/academy that cover pretty much all the basics, anything that you might want to learn. I highly encourage you to start there if you're a new user. The bell here opens the notifications menu, and then the last tab in the corner is your Manage Accounts tab that allows members to customize their profile, avatar, and link their account with some external sites. So now we'll touch on user roles and permissions. There are 4 basic roles in WeVideo. The owner is the super admin of the account. The owner manages the global settings, but for all intents and purposes, you can think of owner and admin as almost interchangeable. The only difference here is that the admin is not only one person. You can promote multiple individuals to that role. So oftentimes a larger district would purchase WeVideo, and then they would promote one person per building as an admin to serve the local needs of teachers and students. The lead role is probably the most crucial. This is the teacher level role, and without promoting your teachers to lead, it's really hard for them to do anything outside of just creating videos. So for classroom management, for some visibility, having that lead role is really critical. And then the last role here is user. This is the student level role, and it's primarily tailored towards video creation and being more like an individual contributor who could potentially collaborate with others. One thing I want to note here is that these are roles, but within each role you can actually create multiple customizable profiles. And with that, I want to jump in the product so we're not making this so abstract, and we can dig in and look into what this looks like on the admin tab. So this is my demo account. I can go to the admin tab and go to members, and this is where I can see the different individuals in my account, and I can see that I have all these different people with different roles here. And I mentioned that you can customize the roles. So when you go to settings, if you're an admin, of course, you see all these different roles here. And let's say for user, I can right-click and rename this to elementary school and middle school student, for example. So you can name the role anything you want. This is the hardwired kind of permission set, and this is your name here. And then I can duplicate it, and I can say I want a different set of permissions for my high school students. And this way, these are both user-level individuals, user-level profiles, but then for high school, I can give more permissions, like access to Facebook potentially and Instagram, or on the export side, I can allow students to export to YouTube and Vimeo, whereas I'm keeping the elementary middle school permission set a bit more restrictive. So you can fully customize this for both teachers and students, and it's really great once you get the hang of how the permission sets work. And I mentioned that leads see a groups tab. So if we go to a lead level view, this is a teacher here. We can see that the teacher has a groups tab. So now with this, I wanted to touch on how you manage the classroom with this groups tab. There are a couple of workflows that you can implement. One workflow is basically making sure that all your students are already members of your organization, and then you create a group, and then you look through the list and select the students that belong to your class, and that's how you build that group. A second workflow is to just create the shell, the empty group, and then there's a group join code inside the that space that you can paste on the board, that you can copy on the board, and the students can go into their accounts and they can just click on join group, enter the code, and they'll automatically end up in your class. One thing often I get asked is, are groups sort of linked with our Google account? Especially if you've done a Google domain sync. So we provide an opportunity to sync WeVideo with your Google domain. Often teachers and administrators expect that we'll pull the group's roster and put it into WeVideo. That is not the case at this time. So when you log in as a teacher, you will see this view here being just a blank slate, and then you can click on the plus sign, click on create group, and then you can initiate one of the two workflows that I just touched on. So let's say I'm teaching a biology class. One way, as I mentioned, is I can search for my student's name, provided they're already a member of the organization, and I can add them one by one, or I can just go through the entire selection here, and I can just click on the students that belong to my class. Often I hear this is a little bit time-consuming. So the second method might be more relevant to you. Just create the group, don't add users here, and then once you have it, double click on it and you'll see the group code in the corner. Just put it on the board and then give it to your students, and they will be able to go to their home screen. This is a student view, by the way. They can go to their home screen, they can click on join group, they can paste the group link, and then they will end up in your classroom. So here's Mary, she's already in my classroom. And one of the great things with groups here in WeVideo is it's almost like a rudimentary LMS, because you have all your students in one place. And I can double click on a student's profile, and I can see her activity level throughout the school year. So this is for November. I can go into another month and see how much time she spent in the editor. I can also see all the videos that she created since she joined WeVideo. And I can also see the projects that she's currently working on. This is more like the work in progress. And note how it doesn't matter if I'm shared on the project. She could be working on a personal project or a collaborative or shared project. It doesn't really matter. I can see them all. I can double click on a project, and at any point in time I can see exactly what the student is doing. So there's nothing hidden to the teacher. And lastly, in this student dashboard view, I can see which other groups Mary belongs to. In this way, I can discover opportunities for collaboration with other teachers, and perhaps we can do some interdisciplinary video work across different subjects. So, and lastly, when I'm in this group, notice how I have the members. I also have the projects, and these are the themes or assignments that I'm giving to the students. And then I have videos, which are the finished work that are coming out of the group project, of this classroom. And I can always start a new group project by simply clicking on this button, and I can make it either collaborative and shared, and then go ahead from there, add my students to that assignment. I'm going to pause for just a second to make sure there are no questions, because I'm moving at a pretty rapid clip.
Hi, Artemis. This is Stephanie. Yeah, so far this has been really great. A question that came to mind is that the storage, this is all being stored in the cloud. That's correct, right? But say a student wanted to download it, maybe to have their video so they could put it on YouTube or save it on a hard drive to show people when they're not on their Chromebook. Does that possibility exist?
Yes, the possibility is definitely there. So you have, on the export side, you have numerous export destinations that you can turn on or off. So if we go to admin and settings, you'll notice that when we go to, let's say this is the student profile, if we go down to those permissions, all of these are possible export destinations that I can turn on. So you have Google Drive for sure. A lot of districts love to turn this on. But you also have YouTube, Vimeo, Dropbox, OneDrive, other external destinations. And if you feel comfortable, I think this all touches on, how private you want that profile to be. But if you feel comfortable to give the students the ability to download videos, you can simply turn this on, and they will see this this button in their finished videos.
Okay, that's great. And then another question came in regarding, can students create groups, or is it only teachers who have the ability to do that?
It is only teachers, so this is a lead and above level permission. Students can only belong to groups, but they cannot create groups, and that's really where making sure that teachers are leads becomes really critical, because otherwise they're stuck in kind of this individual contributor mode that the student is in. And if we go to that student profile view, notice that they do not have that groups tab here.
Okay.
They could, however, create collaborative or shared projects, and I can touch on how that works in just a second.
Okay, great. So then the same asker, I created a group but don't see a place for a code to give to students. So this is coming from one of our coaches. So is there a code to give the students to join the group?
So the group, so make sure that you're in the groups tab and double click on the group. The code is always going to be there in the bottom left-hand corner. It's right here. So if you remember this place, it should be here. I hope you're not confusing projects with groups, because the code is always in the group.
In the groups tab. Okay, and she says, thank you, I missed that part. Okay, so that answered her question. Yeah, why don't we let you continue? That was great to kind of catch up on some of those questions. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Excellent, thank you.
Sure.
So, okay, so let's move on then. Let's move towards the actual creation process. So the first thing you need to do when you're building videos is to bring some content into the account. As I mentioned, WeVideo doesn't come with any stock videos or photos, so you need to film your own content or just grab that content from Google Drive or from your device, from a camera, any other external destination. And in terms of capturing media, obviously phone or tablet is an extremely easy and useful way to do it. If you're using the apps, just turn on your WeVideo app, capture your content, and then there's a sync button. Just sync it with your account, and then you'll see the same content in your WeVideo cloud account. You can also use the Chromebook camera, and the way you do this, if we go into the editor, so if we're editing, the way to access the device camera is through this record button here. So I'm in the media section, I see this record button, and by the way, this is also going to give you the screencasting feature, but I can also just activate my device camera and capture content from here. I can also use external cameras and even more fancy equipment with SD cards, etc. And also, a lot of educators, want content that goes beyond what you can just capture in a classroom. So creativecommons.org or archive.org are really great for that. And sometimes if you allow Flickr in your district, they have a Creative Commons filter as well, so you can find appropriate photos and videos there. So how do you upload media? When you click on upload, you'll see something like this. You'll see a full set of import sites. And as I mentioned, you can customize this based on the user role and the profile that you've designated. So for a student, maybe you want to keep them on just Google Drive. And once you upload that media, and again, this is the upload button here. Once you upload it, it'll end up in your My Media section, which is your private media. This is your personal stuff and no one else can see it. But there are also a couple of sharing options. One is shared with everyone, and the other is shared to project. And there's an important distinction here, which educators often miss. Shared to everyone is a global district level folder. So this is perfect if you have stock photos and videos that you want to distribute to the entire district, so anyone who's logging in for the first time can immediately access those photos and videos and start building their story. And then shared to project is a much more fine brush approach, because projects are specific to a small group of creators. So if I'm doing a history project, I can share history-related videos to that group. If I'm doing a science project, I can share something different to that project. But I must be a member of the project in order to see this media. So again, to make this more concrete, let's look in the product. Again, my media section is here. If I go to shared with everyone, this content should be visible to everyone who has the permission to see this content. And again, you can use the admin tab and settings to decide who can see and not see this. And the way you publish videos is simply selecting videos, right-click, and share with everyone to publish them here. The other option, share to project, I think is a lot more useful on a day-to-day basis. And it's the same method. I can right-click, I can select the content, and then share it to a specific assignment or project that I'm working on. And if we go in the editor, you'll see what it looks like. So you must be in the media section here, and then you see my media, which is my private stuff, which for a newbie, kind of a new user who's never used WeVideo, will be empty. But that user can immediately go to that global shared folder and grab some content from here, or use that project media that will be specific to whatever topic they're doing their story on. So I hope this made sense, and I think that sharing aspect is extremely powerful, especially in a large account.
I am here tomorrow, and I just got some message.
Amy, I think I can hear you.
Saying he's your.
Okay, I think you're on mute now. Sorry. Great. So let's talk about projects, because I mentioned that several times. I want to make sure that we go over what projects are and how to leverage them to really have your students have the best possible experience in WeVideo. So there are a couple of videos here. We have tutorials on WeVideo Academy for the different types of projects. But in a nutshell, we have 3 different project types. Personal is what you see in WeVideo Free as well. So it's one creator building videos. This is useful if, as a teacher, if you're building a video of your own for a flipped classroom type experience. Other than that, for the classroom, most often you will use either a collaborative or shared type project. In a collaborative project, everyone can see everyone else's edits, so it doesn't need to be just one. This can be multiple edits, but you can have multiple creators building one video together. And then in shared, you still have everyone in the same place, and as the owner of the project, you can see everyone in this place. But then from the student standpoint, they're working individually. They cannot see each other's timelines. More importantly, here you can share media with everyone at one click of a button. So you can have your entire class of 25 students. You can share the same content with all of them at the same time, and you can monitor their progress one-on-one from that in this shared project. So we're going to create a project here. As I mentioned, you have one option for you is to go to your groups and then start a project from inside the group. And WeVideo automatically picks up all the members of the group, so we recognize that everyone will be part of that project. And then we can give it a title, we can give it a description, and we can select one of these two formats. The second way to do it is directly from the Projects tab. And I sometimes like that better because you can organize your stuff in a more careful way through the folders by creating new folders. So let's say I have a folder for my US History 9th grade classes, and then I have all these assignments or projects that I've already given to my classes, and I can start a new one. So create a new project. Let's say I'm working on the civil rights movement. I can use the description as a prompt for the students, so I can just quickly describe the assignment here, because this is highly visible inside the project. And then I can select one of the 3 project types that we just discussed. So let's say I'm doing a shared project. The next thing I can do is I can either select members individually or pick up the group that I've already predefined. Or a lot of teachers love the invite with link method, which works great with any LMS or Google Classroom type solution. So if you already have your assignment somewhere else, you can just grab the link, paste it at the bottom of the assignment, and your kids are going to click on it and end up in WeVideo in the right environment. So they're a lot less prone to be confused. So I'm going to use this method for now. And then lastly, if I want, I can share some media to jumpstart the project. So if I have some civil rights movement content, which I don't seem to have now, I could, in theory, share it and get the project going. Here's my link. I can paste it in Google Classroom, and I'm pretty much set to go. And this is what a project looks like. So I have the edits, which are the work in progress, as I mentioned earlier. I have the videos, which are the finished work that's coming out on this topic. I have the project media, which I haven't shared any now, but I could go to media and find some content here. So let me see. I guess so. Let's skip that part. So yeah, so I can share media, and I'll see the shared media inside the project. And then let me just open a project that's a little more fleshed out. So here's the media is going to be right here, and I can always add or remove members from this project. The assignment description will appear here, so students will easily visualize what the prompt is or what they're after in terms of the topic. Is there a question?
Hi, Attendees. Yes, actually, there is, and it's regarding groups, so it's sort of good timing. A
Yep.
teacher wants to know, can I invite someone to my group that isn't at my school? For example, I want another teacher at a different school to join my group.
The answer is yes, and so long as this person is part of your multi-user education account. So if you're in one account, you can definitely invite them to the group. The best way to do it, however, if you want to collaborate with the teacher, is to make them a co-manager. So notice that I can have more than one manager of a group. So let's say biology period A, I want to collaborate with someone, so I can go inside my group, add or change manager, and then look for the teacher here, find his or her name, and then add them as a manager. So now they will see the same group in their groups tab, and they will be able to work with the same students and kind of pull
Oh,
resources with you.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, that's a great feedback. And each district has a different org unit that they're in. So
Mhm.
I believe they have to be in the same org that's signed up with these licenses in order to collaborate. So for instance, if you are in Northern Nevada and you want to collaborate with a teacher on the same exact project in Southern Nevada, not sure.
Yeah,
Do you have
this is
any?
currently this is not possible, but we're contemplating ways to make it happen because
Okay.
we know that you're behind sort of inside a walled garden environment.
Mm-hmm.
And we might be able to open up sort of linkages between and among different education accounts, but currently we don't have that feature.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. So we touched on projects, and let me see. So one great benefit from a teacher perspective in the project is that I can see the finished work in the videos tab. So I don't have to chase after videos and figure out where they are. All the students that are invited to work on this topic on this unit here, once they export videos, I will see them quickly in the videos tab, and we can have a nice sort of mini film fest at the end of the assignment. So I think it's time to jump into the actual editor. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So we saw here already that you have multiple creators in the same project. So again, the project is the entire creative space, and then all of these different videos are called edits in WeVideo. And by the way, if you're sharing a project, that's the last thing I was going to mention before I jump into the editor. If you're sharing a project with your students, the students will see it in projects shared with me. And then let's say, I believe I invited Mary, or maybe I haven't. But if I had invited Mary here, if she sorts by date created, she will see the latest project that she was invited to, and she can quickly access it from here.
And Antonis, that kind of leads to a question. I was going to maybe wait, but because you're talking about these links,
Mhm.
somebody had said, can you get back to a shared link to add a person later? So when you were
Yes.
just showing that, it seemed like you were close to that area where you could show how to do that.
Perfect. So we already have our project, right? And we have several members here, but maybe we want to invite some more. So here's our project link. We can always copy it and then paste it and give access to a new person. Or we can use this plus sign to find the person here. So we can say, maybe Mary's not here, or Julia or somebody else may not be part of the project, I guess. And then we can simply select their names, and we can always add more members to the same project. And same thing works in reverse. If we want to remove someone from the project, we can always right-click on their name and remove member.
Okay, great. I thought I'd just get you while you were in that section.
Yep. So from
Okay.
here, we're going to jump in the editor. So let's say Mary's creating a video. And we want to see what she's doing, and also we want to provide some feedback. There are a couple of great sort of workflows that are not immediately obvious when you log into the editor from a teacher standpoint. The first is this commenting feature. So I can add a marker at any point in time here in this timeline. I can name it anything that I want, and then I can either link it to the timeline itself, sort of put it in a specific point in time, or I can link it to one of the clips under the scrubber here. And then I can add a comment, so we can have conversations about specific creative choices, very much like Google Docs. And then the next time the student logs into the editor, she will see this comment, and she can click on it. She'll see the note that the teacher left, and then she can respond, so we can have a great conversation about different choices. The second piece here is this revision history option. So if I go to the menu, go to revisions, and I can see all the versions of this edit that have happened since its inception. So with this edit, Mary's the only creator, and she created it yesterday, so there's not much revisioning going on. But with some older videos, you'll see multiple creators creating different iterations of the video, and you can always go back in time and open an earlier version. So great. So we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit. We haven't really talked about the editor. So let's do a quick overview of the editor, and then we're going to do a couple of projects. So in the editor, you have this media window. This is where all your media is going to live. And as I mentioned, this could be your private personal media or the media that was shared with you. And then there's music. There's some other media assets here that you can access as well. The video preview window is on the right. And then the editing space, the editing window is going to be on the bottom. And you can always tweak this and make this bigger or smaller depending on your needs. And lastly, this is the effects bar. So if I'm trying to tweak a specific clip in the editor and I open the edit feature, I will see a different set of choices here. So just to show you, so let's say this clip I want to edit, and this pencil is going to open up all my choices. I have a different set of effects and features right here that I can select from, and I can modify this clip. So great. So let's do a warm-up project and explore storyboard mode. We're going to open the editor in Storyboard. We're going to upload a few photos, and then we want to just arrange them in a way that tells a simple story. We could record voiceover, we can add a theme, but this can take us no more than, let's say, 2 to 5 minutes to get a pretty decent photo story exported. So in order to do this, we're going to go to the menu and go to Storyboard Mode. I'm going to switch that. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to go outside of this edit, and I want to start a new one. So we're going to get a blank slate. So when you start a new one, you don't have much content here. We already have a title, because in Storyboard Mode, you cannot not have a theme that's applied to the video. But we can always modify the title by simply clicking on this pencil and then changing it. My first photo story, I can make it smaller, and I can change the font, and I can change the color. Okay. And then, let me see. And then we can find our photos, so we can build our photo story here. So let's say we want to do a nature video. I can multi-select by holding the shift key, and I can drag all the content down to my storyboard. And if I've multi-selected, I have this great option here to decide on the length of each photo, how long it's going to stay on the screen, and also I can immediately apply animation so the photos are not static and kind of boring. And then I can decide if I want to scale the photos to fit the frame. So we have this black space here. If I scale them to fit the frame, WeVideo will automatically adjust and crop the size to just fill up this entire space here. And we're done. So we have our 6 photos, and we can start playing this, and we'll see that there will be some animation in the photos themselves. Notice how there's some slight animation here, then this is going to change direction. So it doesn't look too sophisticated, but it's an easy and quick way to get started. And in storyboard mode, the focus is on the narrative sequence, like which slide or which clip follows which other clip. So I can rearrange things, but notice that even if I shorten a certain photo or extend it to, let's say, 7 or 8 seconds, when I release it, it still takes up the same amount of space on the screen, because we're not really focusing on duration, we're focusing on sequence. Which is, by the way, a great way to start your story, because it gives you that discipline of thinking about your narrative structure. From here, if we want, we can change a different theme. Basic blue is a really boring theme, but if I click on the theme wand, I can select a noir theme or some other theme that comes with a different set of transitions, choices, as well as kind of a color correction. So when we play the photos now, we'll see that they have a slightly different look and feel. So now this is starting to look a little bit more interesting. I can hear music, by the way. You probably can't hear it, but a theme comes with music. And if you want, you can adjust that from here. And you can record voiceover really quickly. So we've made it very simple. So if you want to narrate under the slides or under the photos, you can record from this button. So I'm going to pause for the last time before we jump into the more advanced side of things, and give you guys a chance to ask questions one more time. Anything about storyboard mode that you want to learn?
Hey, I don't see any questions. This part to me seemed really clear. I like how intuitive, kind of you just drag things into place like that.
Yep.
Hi, this is
Great.
Amy.
Yep.
I just had a question. You already had your photos in your media file already within WeVideo, but a lot of these users don't even have a WeVideo account yet, so they would probably be getting them maybe from Google Photos or just file folder. Can those be exported from their iPhone, from anywhere?
Yes, exactly. And especially if you
Okay.
download the WeVideo app in iPhone, make sure you're logging in with the same credentials. So if you're using Google Single Sign-On, your district account, make sure you use the same on your phone. And then select your photos from the phone, and there's a sync button in the app, which will bring the content straight into your WeVideo account. And also, I think there's a dedicated media uploader from the app menu. So if you go to the menu on the right-hand side, you'll see a thing that says Media Uploader. This will allow you to just upload content without doing editing on the phone.
Okay, so say you have your Google Drive and you have all your photos in your Google Drive or your Google Photos. Then you would just go into, can you show us on the screen how that would
Absolutely.
work?
So
Okay.
I can go to Upload here, to upload media, or I can go to this button, which is the same thing. If I'm in the editor, I can just upload media from here, and I open
Gotcha.
this prompt. So obviously I can drag and drop files or browse my device, but if my photos are in Google Drive, I can link up my account with Google Drive, and you need to give it permission the first time around. And when you allow, you'll see your entire selection, all the folders in Google Drive, and you can simply grab the content.
Okay, no, this is great because, like for us teachers and things, we'll have different access as far as
Mhm,
Facebook and other things where the students may not. Sometimes some
mhm,
districts, they don't have access to Facebook.
mhm.
So they might have to instruct them to put their pictures in a certain Google file
Yep.
drive. That's that's
And
that's great.
you'll, yeah, so if we go to the student view, you'll notice that if I click on the same button, the student only has Google Drive, because this set of permissions is controlled by the administrators of the account. So if Facebook is not allowed in the district, then it's not going to appear in the student view, but it will
Gotcha.
appear in the teacher and administrator view. So
Perfect.
again,
Thank you.
you're kind of managing that set of permissions here. And
Okay,
the
yeah,
same
that
thing
answers.
and the same thing is true for exporting videos. If I'm ready to publish that photo story, I can click on Finish. And then from here, I have potentially a different set of export destinations that I can access. So if I'm a student, typically I can sync this video and bring it to my Google Drive. But if I'm a high school student or a teacher, perhaps I can put it on a YouTube channel or a Vimeo channel. So again, you're controlling this entire list here. And in addition, this
Perfect.
video will always end up in your Master Videos tab in WeVideo.
Okay. Oh, right. In your, okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Thank you. That answers the question.
Perfect. So
And this is
yeah,
Stephanie. Sorry to interrupt,
no problem.
but I thought this is something I'm curious. Someone wants to know if you can import a Google slide into the project.
That's an absolutely great question. And the answer is yes. And it's really good that you can, the way WeVideo actually captures that content because it breaks it down into discrete slides or discrete photos. Let's actually do that. So let's start our next more sophisticated project. Let me see if I can delete this content. So let's say we want to do a more sophisticated flipped classroom project. And we're going to use timeline mode. We're going to place, let's say we have a Google Slides presentation, and we're going to use this as the main video track. And then we want to do some more fancy videos and graphics on top of that. It can be green screen, picture-in-picture. We can put ourselves in the forefront, etc. And then we're going to polish that and finish that. So since we're in storyboard mode still, I'm going to do these actions in storyboard. I'm going to click on upload media, and I'm going to browse my device, and I'm going to go to my desktop, and I have this very simple butterfly lifecycle 4-slide presentation that I've exported from Google Slides as a PDF file. So PDF is really important. So I'm going to add it to my media, and I'm going to upload it. It's probably going to take a few seconds. And once it's ready, we should see it in the My Media section. So here we go. All my slides, the 4 slides that I had, are now discrete photos that I can drag to my timeline. If I multi-select, I can animate them as well. Here we go.
So just to confirm, if you have your Google Slides, you need to make sure to take that slide deck into a PDF first, then export it into your media.
Correct. That's exactly true.
Okay.
Great.
Perfect.
So now, I mean, we can finish this here, and we can have kind of a very basic photo story with Google Slides, and we can even do our recording here. So it would be a voiceover. But if you want to achieve a more sophisticated effect, you would go to timeline mode. All of our content will persist. So notice how these slides are still here. But notice how now the focus is not so much on the sequence, but on the timing. So if I extend a specific photo, if I extend a specific photo, it will take up more space on the screen. And for some reason, this is not working well because of the transitions. I will, sorry, I'm clicking on this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the theme, which is here, and I'll just say no theme to make sure that I'm really focusing on the presentation. So now I have my building blocks. And notice how in this timeline mode, we actually have multiple video tracks, and we also have, and I'm going to put this on full screen, we also can have multiple audio tracks as well. So I'm going to create another audio track. And we can use one audio track for our voiceover, another audio track for our music selection. Maybe we can do sound effects as well. So you can kind of layer things in timeline mode and make this a much more sophisticated and rich, kind of content-rich edit. So now we have our presentation. Probably we don't want to keep the title for more than 2 seconds. And this is going to be our introductory slide, but it's pretty important because it talks about the entire butterfly life cycle. So I'm going to make sure that it lasts a longer period of time. Then we're going to touch on the incredible transformation for a little bit, and then we're going to finish with a nice photo of a butterfly. The entire concept of video editing in timeline mode is the idea of layers. So think of it as sheets of paper. So each layer is a sheet, and then anything you put on top on a higher track is gonna supersede or cover up what's on the bottom. So let's say we want to put ourselves in the picture, and let's see if we have a recording here. So yeah, let's say I recorded myself with my device camera and I want to talk over the presentation. If I play this, notice how this top layer is covering up the bottom, which is not desirable. But this is the entire logic of this multi-track editing. So the first thing I want to show you in this mode is how to access your all the features for each video. And again, we're going to go to this pencil, and we have all the different effects or all the different actions that we can perform on this top layer. So now I can shrink this. I can use the scale button to make this much smaller, and we're doing something like picture-in-picture. So I'm putting the video on top. It's a much smaller scale video, so now I can reveal the butterfly life cycle presentation. And when I play this, I'm already talking, and then I can still see the presentation on the screen. So very basic, but very powerful because you can do a lot of flipped classroom stuff with just this method. So to get more sophisticated, we can go to the green screen option. So record ourselves in front of a green screen. And the entire concept here is that we're going to cut out this solid green color here. And we're going to reveal what's in the background. And in order to do that, again, we're going to go to the clip editor. You can simply click on E to do that. And we're going to go to our green screen or color keying effect. It's just here. We need to use the selector and then select the color that we want to cut out or key out. And bam, now we have the background revealed. We're still keeping the person in the foreground, and we have all the background showing. We can tweak the mask a little bit to make this kind of not visible. And then we're done. So now we have a green screen video. We have the person in the foreground on the top track, and we have the bottom track going with the narration. There's one problem here. The person is actually covering up most of the content. So you're not stuck with only one effect or one modification to any clip. You can actually use any number of features on each single clip. So we can also use the scale on this clip too, and it's not only green screen, but we can scale the person down. So now we can put the teacher in the corner, so she's still talking about the butterfly life cycle, but we're seeing all the great slide options here. So it's actually really fast, and you can do a lot of great things with this method. To touch on some of the other premium effects, so if we go to the editor, there's also a speed feature, and you can slow down or speed up any video or any clip up to 10 times, which, as I mentioned, is really great for science experiments or anything where you want to see something that typically happens fast, slowed down. And there's also this new feature that we introduced called blurred background. So on this clip, because we have green screen, we can turn it on. It looks a little funny, but on a just more simple video, you can have more of a cinematic effect if you turn on this blurred background. So this is basically it. Any questions about timeline mode, green screen, some of the premium effects?
Hi, this is Amy. This has
Mhm.
been great. I I think we're just we got to wrap up here just because
Mhm.
it's an hour recording.
Mhm.
But I think if there is more questions, people can email if that's okay.
Mhm.
I think you answered most of the questions, Stephanie. I don't see any questions that weren't answered. So,
Yeah, we covered a lot in the middle. I thought that worked well addressing the questions as we went. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Can everybody see my screen? It should have the
Yep.
Yes.
great. Um, I think there might have been one question left from Walter. It says, when a comment is made, does a student or teacher get an email or a notification?
The answer is quick. It's a no, currently, and we are working on that. So our notifications are not very robust at the moment, but
Mhm.
we are working on implementing this so it would be easier to receive that comment.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for this webinar, Atanas, and thank you everyone for attending. If you have any questions, please email myself, Atanas, or go through the nr21.ctl.net site, and you're going to reserve a survey on this presentation. And within 24 to 48 hours, you guys will get the recording of that as well. And once you fill out the survey, you will get a completion certificate as well to give to your school district. So beyond CTL and, or excuse me, behalf of CTL and the presenters, we thank you guys for joining us today. So have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.
Bye. Have a great day.